Okay, Azeem, imagine this. It's the near future. There's an acute crisis here on planet Earth, not that hard to imagine. A crack team of technologists have hatched a daring plan to start a new chapter for humanity. They are going to travel, along with 1,000 specially selected people, to a planet far away, far from our solar system, called Next One. And there they will establish a permanent base, a new society, a new home, a new hope for humanity. Azeem Azhar, because of your achievements in the field of newsletter writing, thought leadership, and general brilliance, you have been selected to be among those first 1,000 pioneers to travel to Next One. Before you undertake this journey, there are 5 questions you must answer to allow you to board the ship. So let's get into it with question number 1. Name one luxury physical object that you would like to take to your new home on Next One.
Okay, perfect. I would take my foam roller with me, because we'll obviously be really stiff after a long journey on a spaceship, and we'll need to roll out tension in our muscles and back.
That is a highly, highly practical answer. I'm not sure about the status of, whether you're put in stasis, how long it takes to go to Next One. There's a deal of ambiguity around the journey, but I would say that is an extremely wise precaution. Okay, question number 2. What book should everyone read before boarding the ship to go to Next One?
So this book is, I think, is really important. It's a bit dense, so you can read the abridged version. And it's a book by an American political philosopher called John Rawls, called A Theory of Justice. And it looks to create a process by which we can come up with the rules for a new imaginary society. The most important part of which is that we have to make the rules under what's called a veil of ignorance. We make the rules not knowing whether we are going to be an amazing basketball player, or somebody super lazy, or a brilliant scientist, or someone suffering with some chronic illness. But we have to make the rules without that knowledge. The notion being that, a bit like when you cut the cake, you cut the cake and I get to choose the piece. It'll create a system of fairness, which may have some inequality, but one that we're happy to live with.
A theory of justice. I love it. Okay, that cancels the stasis plan, because we're going to need to work through that, establish the original position, and figure out our basic principles. Yeah, and that gives us something to do on the way. That's fantastic. Question number 3. Name one exceptional person, a crewmate, to take with you among the first 1,000 pioneers to Next One.
So this one was actually super easy, because her name came into my head straight away. It's an economist who has come up with a very, very practical and insightful way of managing economies called donut economies. It's a woman called Kate Raworth. And Kate brings together a lot of other thinking, like the work of people like Eleanor Ostrom and many others, into a single, manageable, understandable, and rather breakthrough idea. But the best thing about Kate is that she's actually working with many countries and cities to implement her ideas of donut economics. And I can imagine on Next One, that would be a good way of organizing these economic resources.
Thank you, Kate Raworth. I would love it if Next One becomes a donut society. There have even been whispers about Kate Raworth on the next show. So let's send her this clip, and that will persuade her to come and answer these questions herself. Okay, question number 4, a serious one. Create one law that bans something from planet Next One forever.
That bans something. Okay, so I read this question, understood this question as create one law that you would bring with you. So I'm going to give you that answer instead.
Close enough.
And then we can reverse it. So the one law I would bring with us, because it is so easy to explain and it is common across cultures, whether they are Buddhist or Hindu or Abrahamic tradition, is the golden rule, which is to treat others as you would be treated. So if there was one thing we would ban, the law would be, let's ban the idea that you might treat someone in a way that you wouldn't like to be treated yourself. And that for me is a very, very simple rule that we could establish on Next One.
Perfect. Yeah, and with some legislative jiggery pokery, we can make that. We can do it. We can do that as a ban.
Yeah.
Question number 5, your final question. One tradition from planet Earth that you'd like to see replicated on your new home.
Yeah. So this is related to my last answer. So there's a British tradition, which is that you always apologize for something, particularly when it isn't your fault. So, you drive into my parked car, I get out and I say, oh, I'm terribly sorry, David. I'm terribly sorry. You slam a door in my face because you're not looking. I'm really sorry. So I think that's a very nice tradition. It's a tradition that, takes the temperature down out of fractious situations. So I would take that one forward. Always apologizing for things that aren't your fault. Domiciled London.
I love it. I would have absolutely no problem obeying that. It's
I'm sorry about that.
Deep in the bone of deep in the bone of any British person. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Azeem. With those 5 questions complete, you are free to board the ship. I wish you well. Good luck with the John rules on the way.